Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. We are back with a brand new Flashback Friday review for The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 7, Episode 15. And who is Mr. Chocolate? Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. When the episode first opens up, we open with Apollo giving his farewell FaceTime speech. Well, I have finally arrived at the penitentiary. I'm about to go asunder. Thank you for the support and the prayers. Stay tuned. You'll hear from me shortly. Boy, gone, honey. Gone to the prison, child. Goodbye. In the next scene, Phaedra's on her way back home. She said when Apollo came over to her to get it started, she was fearful for her safety, but now she can head home since he's in jail. Apollo was unhinged on that episode. I would have been heading to the border, me, myself, and I, honey. I don't blame her for leaving at all, because something was wrong with him. But I really feel like he was acting like that because he knew that Phaedra should have been going to jail with him, according to the people in the streets, okay? Now, these are the same people in the streets that Mama Joyce be hearing stuff from, so y'all can't blame it on me. But I just feel like he felt that way. And listen, if you are over on Patreon, I will be doing a new audio book that the lady wrote, Angela Stanton, about the whole thing that went down and all the ins and outs of the foolery and the fakery and the schemery. We will be discussing it over on that side. Coming shortly. Child, just a side note. Moving forward. I would have fled the scene as well. That's just point blank in the period. So Phaedra said now that Apollo is gone, she can call the pastor so they can perform an exorcism. And when I tell y'all, I hollered when she said that. Now, I do believe in getting the negativity out of your space. That's why you can't be inviting everybody into your house. Like, girl, just come stop by. Nope. I don't know what energy you have. And when you cross that threshold, everything that you are carrying with you will transfer up in here and I don't need it. Okay. Like you can just tell. Okay. Prime example. Have you ever been to someone's home and they have a significant other and they just got through having an argument? As soon as you walk into their home, you can feel the negative energy. You can feel the fusserization. That's what happens when you invite any old body into your house. So I don't blame her, honey. I would have cleared it out too. Moving forward. In the next scene, Candy is at home in the Candy Coated Nights studio with Karma and Don Juan, and Todd pulls up. Okay, so Todd just came from a flight. Okay, Candy's like, come here, give me a hug. Child, he's standing all by the door and whatnot. Candy said they got into it in LA. They haven't really resolved it, but she's glad to have him back. And I'm going to tell y'all like this. I had my good eye on Todd this season. All that solo traveling, acting funny, no sex. Baby, he ain't fooling me. Okay. So they started talking about what the next Candy Coated Night show is going to be. Candy said, why don't we talk about spicing up your sex life? Hint, hint. Todd. Here go Don Juan. Don't nobody want to hear about Todd and his Cocker Spaniel waves hunching. Not nobody. I hollered so loud at that. I thought that was so funny. So they start pretending like Todd is the guest. So Karma and Don Juan, they leave. So Candy and Todd, they sit down. So Candy is interviewing Todd. And so she brings up, him and what he's doing. And he's like, well, I got a fro right now, so I've been grinding. Candy said, speaking of grinding, have you been grinding lately? He said, yeah. She said, grinding who? Child. He said, I gave you some the other day. She said, yeah. And how long ago was that? He said, I'd rather not say. Now, Todd, I don't know what you were doing during season 7, so I ain't gonna just put it on you. But you had just gotten married to Candy. So all of a sudden, you can't remember the last time y'all had sex. But then when we fast forward to season 13, you were talking about how Candy don't be giving it up because she be tired. Well, you wasn't giving it up way back then. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going on, honey. Where's the disconnect? So she said it seems like they haven't been getting it in. She has 2 Todds. One that she's in love with and the other one that's business Todd. And she feels like now she's getting more business Todd and he's treating her like she's his homegirl. And so she suggests that they go to counseling. So he want to know why. Why? Because stuff is falling apart. She said, well, first of all, not enough sex. And I guess we can talk about the business. So he brings up finances, trying to deflect because Todd ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Candy said, I don't know why he bringing up finances. We not hurting our pockets around here. Honey, I know that's right. So he starts saying that they need to compromise. She said, listen, I'm fine with the compromising of it all, but can we have sex more than once a week? He's like, let's just keep it real. I'm no Tyson Beckford and you're no Rihanna. Sir, first the damn all, there's no reason to bring up Riri. Shout out to Riri. And second of all, I wish my man would say I'm no Rihanna. No, I'm not. Okay, but I'm me, and there's that. And you fell in love with this. If you fell in love with Rihanna, then you need to go find her. Child, that was so offensive. So then he starts asking her, when is the last time she didn't have a bonnet on and she had heels on? I'm gonna tell you like this, Todd. I have never had any complaints, bonnet and all. Okay, sounds like an excuse to me. And y'all know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of one of my exes that made mention of my stretch marks. And I was like, I know you didn't, honey. I know you're used to the BBL of it all and all of it being sucked tight and smoother than a baby's bottom. But baby, real asses have road maps, okay? Real men appreciate road maps leading you to the promised land. This is a body built by God, okay? So he was trying to help your little slow self out and help you find out where the pot of gold lies. But since you want to talk about the stretch marks that real women have, you won't touch me again. But honey, I ain't never said nothing about my bonnet, okay? I keep me a helmet of salvation on because, Todd, this is not the movies, okay? This ain't the movies. You ain't gonna be sitting here getting my hair all messed up, sweating my edges back, and then we done. No, it doesn't work like that. That sounded like an excuse to me, honey. So he said the bonnet doesn't turn him on. Now listen, if the bonnet doesn't turn you on, you are entitled to having what gets your motor running. But the thing that killed me is Candy was like, well, I mean, the bonnet was cool before. So now it's the problem with the bonnet? Like, I'm not understanding. Like, what's going on? See, it's the chase. See, it's exciting. And then when they get you, it's like, why you got this bonnet on? Now, don't get me wrong. You should zhuzh it up for your man. You know, put your heels on, come out in your sexy lingerie, role play for him. Yeah, we can get into that. But baby, everyday life, I got kids. I got to cook. I got to come home. I got to cater to you like this is Beyonce. No. Okay? You going to get this bonnet and you going to blow my back out. And that's just that on that. Baby, that's just that on that. So he going to say in the confessional, I mean, have you seen these women in these bonnets? The thirstiest of dudes wouldn't get it up. Well, Todd, I beg to differ. Okay, I feel like Todd was tripping, but maybe that's just me. In the next scene, Cynthia goes to meet with Claudia and Kenya for a little wine tasting. And you know what I was wondering, y'all? I wonder how things would have been if Claudia got a second season. I really feel like Claudia was good for the show. I really do. Now, I know people didn't like Claudia because, you know, once you go against Nene, it's really no coming back for you. But I do feel like Claudia was good for the show. It was given the Talls 2.0 because, you know, Nene had went over there with the Talls. Nene had went over there with the Smalls. So it was kind of like the Smalls plus Nene. So I really feel like Claudia should have stuck around for at least another season. Moving forward. So they sit down, they start talking. So Kenya's like, well, did y'all see the craziness with Apollo? Like, he was on the run. I don't care if you on the run. Baby, long as I'm next to you, and if loving you is a crime. I'm sorry, but every time I think about Phaedra and Apollo, and the fact that she said Apollo was on the run, baby, it's giving Beyonce and them. Do you hear me? Oh, honey, on the run. Y'all know I play all day. Anywho. Cynthia was like, well, girl, he wasn't on no run, okay? And I got a little tea on that situation. Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, honey. I don't care because y'all know y'all going to get me together if y'all need to get me together down in the comments. Cynthia was messy as hell on this season, baby. Messy as hell, her and Peter, okay? She was messy as hell for telling them that. And that's how I feel about it. So Cynthia tells them that Peter told her that Phaedra had messages in her phone from a man named Chocolate, and Apollo threatened to burn the place down. Now, a little bit later on in the episode, Phaedra tells Candy that Apollo had threatened to burn the place down. So I'm thinking it's in relation to the text message from Mr. Chocolate. Okay, let's keep on listening. She's like, apparently he's an African prince. Well, baby, what she say that for? And y'all know what tripped me out? They used to throw around African prince like you could buy one from Walmart. Atlanta loved to talk about an African prince. Kimora is across the street. Kimora is across the street. Y'all remember when Nene said that at that reunion? Kenmora is across the street. And so I thought, oh, who is he talking about? Kenya Moore is across the street. Now, have I met him? No. Child, I know that's right. So anywho, So Kenya was like, well, what did the text message say? So Cynthia tells her that it said, I can't wait to be off the plantation, saying she gonna be free when Apollo go to jail, even saying that, she loves the person and she can't wait to get spanked. Well, child, Kenya said, say what? She can't wait. Say what now? She can't wait to get spanked. She's like, how can you call me a whore when you are texting this man and you're married? He ain't even in jail yet. So Cynthia gonna say, yeah, I wanted to tell y'all because all of the double standard and the whore calling. Nah, 50 Cent. Baby, you can sell that to somebody who's buying it because I ain't. You wanted to be messy because this is the season where Nene wasn't feeling you. You and Nene were not friends and she had gotten over there with Phaedra. You did this because the two of them were friends, and let's just call a spade a spade. This is the season that Nene breached her friendship contract, and you ain't fooling me. You were not bringing this so you could uplift Kenya and say, see, look at the hypocrisy. You were being messy, okay? And you brought it to Kenya because you wanted her to know because you had a bone to pick with Phaedra. Cynthia, see, Nene tried to tell us that it was another side to you, and the people didn't want to listen because, Nene was on her high horse, honey, sitting high and looking low like she was somebody. But really and truly, she was telling the truth. People shoot the messenger when it's Nene. And everything she been saying, honey, been coming to pass. Them people acting a fool over on Bravo came to pass. Okay? But nobody wanted to listen because it was Nene, but she was telling the truth. Cynthia does have another side to her. I was like, girl, that is not why you brought this to them. Anywho, moving forward. So Cynthia was in her confessional and she said, over the years, Phaedra has had an issue telling the truth. Oh yeah, Phaedra definitely got a little lying problem, honey. She said, I can't say I know Phaedra, but I do know her representative. I don't think any of us got to know Phaedra. All those seasons she was on, nobody got to know her. Now, the Phaedra that we see now, the city girl, that's the real Phaedra. All that prayer cloth and everybody knows that is not the real Phaedra. She created this persona and then she came onto the scene pretending to be her. Because even Candy has said several times in different seasons, Phaedra is the Southern belle. And then when she gets around certain people, she likes to turn up. And, now she's just living her life. So Kenya starts crying. You don't get to call me a whore. All my life I had to fight. No, she ain't say that. She ain't say all my life I had to fight. But she was crying, honey, talking about she been calling her a whore and she ain't no whore. Well, can you listen? Okay, because I like all the heifers. I like all the heifers when the heifers is on to be liked. But I got to give it to you straight, no chaser. Kenya, I got to keep it real with you. Phaedra is phony, okay? Phony Faye. But you were being a bit too much with her husband, though. Calling him fine. And then when y'all went on that first cast trip, season 5, when you were first introduced, when you were out there with Walter, you were saying to Phaedra, would you ever let your husband have a treat or a threesome? You were doing too much. Okay. Those people were married. So you can't just be talking about having a threesome and everybody knew you liked him. And then when he went and lied and said you promised him fellatio down in LA, then Phaedra took that and took what she already felt. And she was a little bit threatened by you. Let's just keep it real. You're a beautiful woman. And it seemed like you were coming for her husband. So I feel like that's why she was calling you a hoe. I don't think she just came and woke up one day and was like, I'm going to call Kenya a whore. I don't think so. Now, I give Phaedra a lot, but I'm not going to give her that. Now, it is hypocritical if we prove that this is true for her to be calling you out your name and she doing her dirt. But that's the reason why. And I have to say this as well. Apollo and Phaedra belong together because they were both liars. Now, I would insert Mariah Carey's We Belong Together, but my voice is a little bit raspy because I'm feeling a little under the weather. But I'm just going to say, we belong together. Shout out to Mariah Carey. Moving forward. So Claudia's like, well, girl, don't cry because you're going to be vindicated. So Kenya was like, well, let me see the proof. So Cynthia goes, well, Peter saw the text messages. I didn't see him. So in the confessional, Cynthia talking about, yeah, I don't care what's going on with Phaedra, but the hypocrisy in this group is just too much. Girl, goodbye. In the next scene, Phaedra's at home with the prince and the president, and the pastor and his wife show up to bless the house. And Phaedra said, when they're done, all the evilness is going to be gone. And I remember when this aired, people were like, what is happening? What is Phaedra doing? Not an exorcism. Girl, goodbye. But the pastor and his wife showed up, right? So they going through the house, blessing the house. I don't know if this was sage. I don't know what they had. And the pastor said, we are going to deliver you from evil. And when I tell y'all that camera pointed at Apollo, it had Carlos Kang written all over it. When that camera panned over to Apollo's picture, I screamed. And I was just thinking as I'm watching it back, when Aiden and Dylan see this, they're going to see that this was calling their dad evil. Like certain things in that scene didn't make any sense. It's like, okay, girl, go on, bless the house or whatever, because there was a lot of turmoil and fighting and this, that, and this and but don't be pointing the camera at their dad and talking about we're going to deliver us from evil, child. It was giving a whole food. Moving forward. In the next scene, Cynthia's at home getting ready for the dinner. She's in this closet, honey. I don't know what she's doing in this closet. And Peter comes in. So Peter was like, oh, I'm not feeling good. Cynthia said, well, back up because I don't want you getting me sick because I got to go meet the heifers for dinner. So here go Peter. Now, he done started all the mess. He told the messages and he gonna say, you girls trip me out. Y'all fight with each other and then go sit down and eat with each other the next day. So Cynthia was like, well, I mean, I don't have a problem with anybody. I'm pretty much neutral. That's what me and Candy have in common. We're both neutral. Cynthia, this season, you had a problem with a lot of people. Portia didn't halfway like you because you went and had to sit down with her. Portia didn't like you. Nene didn't like you. Who else didn't like? Phaedra didn't like you. Cynthia, you were into it with a lot of people this season. Like, girls say, what now? Anywho, so Cynthia said, listen, I told Kenya about the Apollo text messaging stuff. And he said, so how did that go? She said, well, she was emotional about it because Kenya was called a whore and Phaedra never apologized. And Cynthia feels like Phaedra should have apologized to Kenya. So Peter gonna say, oh, this is some real deep stuff. Cynthia said, well, I mean, we don't even know if it's true. Well, if you don't know if it's true, why are you repeating it then, Cynthia? Huh? Why? Oh, okay. So Peter said, well, I read the text messages and I don't know why he would just make that up. Listen to me. He's a con artist, okay? He's a con artist, as Nene would say. But I'm just gonna have to keep it real with y'all because y'all know I love y'all. I believed the text messages. Watching it back then and watching it now, I believed it. This is the same season when they went to Puerto Rico and she said she was up all night on that phone with a friend. Now, when they got to the reunion, she said the only chocolate that she knows is her best friend, White Chocolate, who used to be an ex-video vixen. Child, look, we can go down the rabbit hole all day long, honey. It's a whole bunch of tea. Okay, a whole bunch of old school tea. We could really go down the rabbit hole. But rumor has it, okay, because we back on the streets that Mama Joyce be listening to. Rumor has it that Mr. Chocolate was Giselle's over on Potomac, Gizzard. It was her ex, Pastor Jamal Bryant. Now, I don't know how true it is, honey, so don't quote me. That's allegedly. But the people used to say that it was Pastor Jamal Bryant. I'm just saying. So Peter was like, well, I mean, he showed Todd the text messages too. So, I mean, why would he just make that stuff up? So Cynthia said, oh, okay. Well, that means Candy knows about it. Peter said, well, did Candy tell Phaedra? Cynthia said, well, I don't know, but if it was information out there about me, I would want to know about it. The only thing that is getting on my nerves in this episode is that Cynthia keeps trying to pretend like she's doing this gossiping for the right reasons. Cynthia, I see straight through you, honey. You're not doing this for the right reasons. You're doing this to get mess started because you don't like Phaedra. I would have respected it more had she said, well, I'm going to run it back. You want to call people whores, so I'm going to run back what you doing. Sounds like a hypocrite to me. If you would have kept it real, I would have respected you. But this right here, it was looking like you just wanted to get some mess started. The sweet, sweet Cynthia. Okay. In the next scene, Candy goes to visit Phaedra. So Phaedra is like, when Candy popped up, I was shocked because she been MIA. So Candy says she hasn't talked to Phaedra because she's been having drama with her play and her marriage. And baby, when her money is funny, she can't be worried about nobody else, honey. She don't know what y'all talking about, what y'all got going on. Her money is not adding up. Okay, the bank and the math ain't mathing. So Candy sits down with Phaedra and she was like, girl, so what's been going on with Apollo? So Phaedra said, girl, he became very aggressive. He got violent. He was punching holes in the walls. He even threatened to burn down the house. Listen, that's why I draw the line. Because when you start punching holes in the walls, the next thing you're going to punch is me. There's only so many holes and only so many walls you're going to want to punch before you punch my face. So for me, I don't blame Phaedra. I would have gotten up and I would have removed myself as well. And during this episode, they were showing the holes in the wall. Baby. The only hole in the wall I want to have anything to do with is the one that they have in the hood where you go and the wings are 10 cents a piece and the drinks are 50 cents. All the old men in there buying you drinks, honey. All the aunties are in there two-stepping. I got my drink, get my two. That's the only hole in the wall I like. But baby, that's the only hole in the wall I like, honey. Absolutely not. So then Candy was like, well, wait a minute. He didn't physically threaten you, did he? And she said, no, but when he came here, he came with a drill. He was supposed to be in prison. He comes up the driveway coming behind me with a drill. Candy said, what was he going to do with that drill? She said, I don't know what he was going to do with it, but I would hate to have lit him up with this 357. I would hate to have to bomb Apollo. I would hate to have to embalm him. I know that's right, y'all. But I'm going to say this to y'all. I always felt like things would have been worse had the cameras not been there. Because at this point, he had nothing to lose. So I feel like had the cameras not been there, oh, baby, all hell would have broke loose. So Candy's like, so how do you feel about it now? Phaedra said, I feel good now that he's in prison. Now I can focus on me and the kids. So Phaedra said, I feel like Candy has been absent during my problems. That's what she's saying in the confessional. So she tells Candy that Nene has called her every day since she's been going through. Nene's been real supportive. They've been getting closer. Candy was like, oh, really? Okay. Here go Phaedra. I really do think she has evolved from the Nene of yesteryear. Girl gone, not yesteryear. So Candy said, oh, girl, that's wonderful. Phaedra said, I'm not about to play with you, Candy, Burris, Tucker, because she already know Candy wasn't for the foolishness. So Candy said, look, girl, I'm taking her kindness with baby steps. And I don't blame her on that because Nene will switch up on you real quick. You thinking she cool, and the next thing you know, she get to the reunion, she got an attitude with you, and you don't even know why. It's like, girl, we just went through the entire season. We were cool. Now we at the reunion, and you acting up. Like, what is happening? So then Candy invites Phaedra to dinner, and Phaedra was basically like, who all gonna be over there? And she was like, I don't need no craziness. I've been dealing with too much crazy stuff. Have to bring my apostle in my purse and anoint these pros. In the next scene, it's the night of the dinner, y'all. So Candy arrives at the Fogo de Chao. Cynthia's already there, honey, because y'all know Cynthia gonna be on time if she don't do nothing else. So then Kenya and Claudia, they arrive. Portia and Demetria, they arrive. So they sit down, they're ordering their drinks. Kenya up there flirting with the server, speaking in a different language, thinking that the waiter was from Brazil. When I tell y'all I holler because she was so invested, she was like, en punto, en minimiquito, or something she was saying, child, and she was moving her hands with it. Kenya! Ooh, she was moving her hands with it. Baby, I was screaming. I said, she is so invested in this character she playing right now, child. So Portia gonna say in her confessional, it's really sad that Kenya has to resort to flirting with the waiter. I mean, at least she has a lifetime supply of tap water. She'll never be thirsty again. Never. And Peach Juice, what is wrong with the server? Huh? What's wrong with him? You don't know if he's working his way through medical school or not. And you know what? Kenya will give a regular man a chance. Y'all saw how she did with Matt. She picked Matt up from the gym, dusted him off, took him around the general public, and he acted like a crazy. So, I mean, you got to kind of watch them. They crazy when they got the money, and they crazy when they don't got the money, honey. I'm just saying. Moving forward. So then Nene and Phaedra show up. Hey, y'all. And as I'm looking around the table, this cast was actually a great cast. We should have kept them going into seasons after that. It really was a great cast of women. Now, we could have done without Demetria because she didn't really bring much, but the other heifers could have stayed. So Candy starts trying to make small talk to break the ice. So she asks Nene what she's been doing. She said, just studying for Broadway. So then Nene looks at Phaedra and she goes, Phaedra, what you been doing? Here go Phaedra. Just living. And she's smiling, right? Kenya gets in the confessional. Kenya said, I wonder how her life has changed now that she's been freed off the plantation. So then here goes Cynthia, baby, because it's finna get started. Y'all, here we go. Well, actually, Peter talked to Apollo about how he felt about, going in and the whole leaving the kids and all that stuff. And it was a lot more that was said. I mean, I could just put it on the table, but if we're not going to really put it on the table, then, I mean, it is what it is. Claudia said, oh my gosh, Cynthia, I need to teach you how to be a better pit bull. Yes, you do, honey. She want to have a messy moment, but she can't even get it out. Girl, if you gonna say it, then just say it. So then Kenya goes, well, there's a lot more to the story, right? There's a lot more that was said, honey, because Kenya trying to help out. Like, girl, spit it out, girl. So Cynthia gonna say, oh, yeah, I mean, you're obviously not trying to talk about it, but we can just go ahead and just put everything on the table. Cynthia, the table is full, okay? The table is damn full. Put it on the table or shut it up. Shut it up. Cynthia gonna say in the confessional, I'm just uncomfortable because I don't really have no real issue with Phaedra. Well, then why are you talking about it then? And you do have an issue with Phaedra, and I'm not gonna repeat it again. So then Cynthia goes, yeah, it's been a lot of talk, calling girls whores, which, I think as women is really unfortunate. So Portia in the confessional, she said, Cynthia is like, blah, 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 blah. Like, girl, are you talking yourself up to say something? Basically, Portia wanted to say, girl, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. Honey, I know that's right. So then Cynthia gonna say, it's crazy because Peter told me that, he found out that you were dating some guy. Phaedra said, oh, did he really? Is that what he really said? Cynthia said, he did. Phaedra said, well, he's lying. Cynthia said, well, he said it was some African guy. Phaedra goes, have you ever seen me with an African guy? Or do we all have African men, since that seems to be the trend? Here go Portia. They taking over Atlanta. Portia, sit this one out, honey. Congratulations on the nuptials, honey. Okay. So Nene gonna say in her confessional, this was so funny to me. Cynthia needs to stop. She can't even get it out. I know you don't want to hear this, Phaedra, but oh my goodness. Honey. Oh, child. Atlanta will never be the same. So Phaedra is telling Cynthia, that's a lie. So if you saw me with an African guy, please say it. Nene said Cynthia looks like an idiot. She did look foolish, honey, because it's not in her character to be the bone carrier. It was a terrible execution. Child, it was awful. So Phaedra said, worry about your own husband, okay? Don't worry about me. Worry about your own husband. Cynthia said, well, Apollo showed Peter text messages. Phaedra said, just like he showed the text with Kenya, and that didn't happen either. Kenya said, yeah, it didn't happen. But don't bring my name into it. Because, child, she ain't none of Cynthia. Y'all already know Kenya, once she get activated, it ain't no stopping her. Kenya said, but that's not the whole story. Cynthia, tell the story because you know more about it. Because Kenya's like, girl, just go and tell it. So Phaedra said, well, she can say whatever she wants. That doesn't make it true. Cynthia said, all I'm saying is, I don't know if it's true or not, but he said it. So Phaedra said, well, if you didn't see it for yourself, then you can't believe it. Kenya said, but Peter did see the evidence. Phaedra said, were the text messages on your phone true? Kenya said, well, let's talk about that. Ooh, child. The text messages that Peter saw that you sent to Mr. Chocolate about you wanting a massage. Phaedra said, and who is Mr. Chocolate? Kenya said, the man that you've been sleeping with. Well, baby, what she say that for? Phaedra gets up like she gonna hit Kenya with that pocketbook. And baby, it's giving a hit dog gonna holler. Cause why you getting up trying to get violent, Miss Southern Belle? Why? Cause see, Portia set the precedent for hitting people on the cast of women. So now you getting up, getting ready to hit her with your purse. Girl, you better get yourself together. So everybody's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So Portia jumps up and she gets in front of Phaedra and she's like, you got too much to lose. You got too much to lose. So Kenya said, the truth is you don't want to know the truth. That's what the truth is. The truth is you want to call everybody else a whore and you're the biggest whore here. You know you've been sleeping around. So they try to usher Phaedra out because, it's about to get started. Kenya's still at the table talking. Kenya said, you don't get that angry if this was not true. So Claudia's like, I'm surprised. This is the Christian lady, the church lady. Kenya said, please hit me. I want you to hit me and go to jail just like Portia. Y'all will both be sitting in the jail. So Nene, Portia, and Phaedra, they walking out. Now, mind y'all, Candy is like 4 steps behind them. Here go Portia messy self talking about, I do wonder why Candy didn't jump up. I thought she would have been the first to stop it. Well, Portia, she didn't have a chance. You flew across the table like Captain Saver Pro. Like Nene was right there too, and even she was delayed. Nobody expected Phaedra to get up and try to hit this lady across the head. Girl, quit being messy. This right here let me know that Portia was trying to drive a wedge in between Kandi and Phaedra. Yes, their relationship was already strained, but you adding little stuff like why she didn't get up first and stuff like that, that was unnecessary and it was messy. Now, y'all can fight me down in the comments, but please don't keep it cute or keep it on mute. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like she was being messy. So Nene is like, why was Kenya so involved? So Kenya inside and she's like, it took 4 years. You did this to me for years, but I can't call you out? Outside, Phaedra is like, if I'm having an affair, then say it to me. I'm having an affair? Really? Yes, really, girl. Cynthia, she was like, Cynthia having the audacity to bring up stuff? Girl, bye. So Portia said, Apollo could have fabricated those text messages. He knows how to do that stuff. Back inside, Kenya is like, she's a liar. Cynthia is like, well, I mean, when it's put on the table, it's put on the table. So address it and move on. Cynthia, please give the table a break. Give that table a break. Back outside, Nene is like, I wouldn't want to talk about my marriage and my business at a table of women who don't support me either. So Kandi said, well, what we have to remember is that you're an attorney and you can't let them jeopardize your job. I know that's right, honey. We need a Kandi over on Potomac to let the heifers know. Y'all need to get yourselves together. So the other ladies walk out and they walking over to them. And I was thinking, why are y'all doing that? That never made sense to me. Watching it back then and watching it now. Why are y'all walking up to them? Why y'all going over there when things just got heated? So they're like, well, you didn't have to leave. Kandi said people do have to leave when it starts to get heated. Exactly. So Kenya goes, well, I mean, you need to be able to have a conversation. Phaedra said, the hens can cluck all they want to, but I'm not afraid to take them to slaughter if need be. And girl said, what now? So Nene was like, well, Cynthia could have brought it up one-on-one. You could have pulled Phaedra to the side. She said, I feel like Cynthia is messy as hell. She's all of a sudden acting all tough like, let's go. Let's get this. She looks ridiculous. She did look foolish. I can't lie. But it's because y'all fell out. All bets are off. Then Nene said, Cynthia needs to keep doing pageants at Walmart. Baby, not the pageants on aisle 12. So now they going on and on and on in the parking lot, child. I just wanted them to get out of each other's face. Like, Kenya, stop. You do too much sometimes. Like, okay, it's been said, back away. Like, it's just too much going on. So Claudia gonna say, well, the whore thing is what we were talking about. Cynthia said, yeah, I mean, you called Claudia a whore. Nene said, and I apologized 15 times. So they rolled the tape back and Nene did, in fact, apologize. So Nene said, but if you bring up a touchy subject, you can't be mad at how people gonna react. Baby, you react with violence if you want to, and you gonna get it right back. Honey, I'm not that evolved, honey. I'm not the Misha from yesteryear. You get physical with me, we're gonna be rolling around in our Giuseppes. I'm just saying. So then everybody starts dispersing because they was like, okay, you don't have to talk to them about your marriage. Don't worry about it, Phaedra. So Portia ushers Phaedra on in the car. They walk their separate ways. So Nene was like, girl, call me when you get home. I understand not want to talk about your marriage in the front of people who don't like you. So Phaedra was like, they about to get they swooped. Kandi said, can't let them get you there. And that was the end of the episode. And who is Mr. Chocolate? The man that you've been sleeping with. Oh, honey, this is a fool. Child, y'all comment down below and tell me exactly what you remember about this episode. Do you remember the episode? Do you believe the rumor? Do you believe she was text messaging a man named Mr. Chocolate? Or do you think Apollo was just salty because he was going to the pen for 8 years? Child, y'all comment down below. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.